Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Hardy Realty Show. I'm Roger Manus with Rome Business Radio. We are broadcasting from the Hardy Realty Studios in downtown Rome, Georgia, on beautiful Broad Street, and it's a beautiful, crisp fall day. And we are joined by Lori Davidson from Hardy Realty. She's our Hardy Realty representative today. Hi, Lori. How are you? Oops, let me turn you up. There you go. Oh. Go ahead. How are you?
Hey there, Roger. Doing well, thanks.
And who is our guest, please, ma'am?
Our guest is Tanya Dean. She is going to talk to us today about a nonprofit called Hope for Hearts.
Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks for finding us.
Well,
It went to the wrong place first.
I was a little late.
That's okay. So tell us a little bit about your organization and your nonprofit here, Hope for Hearts.
All righty. Well, again, thank y'all for having me. Hope for Hearts is a nonprofit. It is for working single mothers and their children. We really started this, or how this came to be, did not know this was going to be happening, but back in about 2011, 2012, felt like God had called us to invite a mom and her children to come and live with us. It was a bad situation that she needed
to come live with you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Didn't start out that way. We started out with just visiting, getting to know one another and all of that. But over the course of time and getting to know her, realizing her situation and all that, we did. We invited her to live with us for a short amount of time to kind of help her to get a nest egg so that she could, because she had a full-time job. It was a relatively decent job, but this would give her an opportunity to save so that she could get a place of her own with her kids. Like I said, her situation was not a healthy one for her to be in. And so in doing this, that's all we were just kind of doing what was in front of us at the time. We had no other intentions, but in getting to know her, my heart really began to break because I'm watching this firsthand in my home. It's not something that I'm just hearing about. I'm seeing her go to work. I'm watching the kids during, the day. I'm seeing her do life. And, again, she was getting paid more than minimum wage, but there was absolutely nothing left over. Nothing left over. And when I say, saving, I mean, they would, have a Pop-Tart for breakfast, and then she would put, if it was a fourth of a Pop-Tart left, she would put it in a Ziploc bag to save for breakfast the next day for her daughter. I mean, they were saving in every way possible that you can. In my home, her children would run around, turning off the lights, and, you could tell that they had been
coupons and just whatever you could.
You could tell they had been taught to not be wasteful and to save. And so through our conversations and getting to know her on that kind of personal basis, I just realized this is not okay. This is not okay because if she has something go wrong with her car, which we know is very expensive, needs a repair, what happens is if they don't have that money to take care of that, you lose a car. Guess what happens next? You lose your job. Guess what happens next? You lose your home. Guess what happens next? You lose your kids. And they could have really good mamas. And all that started because they just simply could not pay to have their car fixed, which is a huge problem that we come across a lot. So in that, I just thought, I can't, this is, again, this is not okay with me, and we've got to do something to help. Well, at that time, it was getting close to Christmas, and we knew that's an easy thing. We're going to help with Christmas. We're going to get Christmas for the kids. And so that's kind of how it started. God broke my heart for what breaks his. And so I began, at the time, I was teaching interdenominational Bible study, and I would just go and share it with the ladies. And the next year, we would have another mom that we would meet or hear about, and some of these were friends of people in my Bible study. Some of these worked with them or went to church with them. And so we just kind of were like, well, let's do Christmas, right? We can get Christmas because this is hard. And so it really kind of cultivated very organically through that. And the numbers just grew. And we were able to help. My family was able to help outside of just Christmas. We were doing that. Again, I wasn't even thinking nonprofit. I was just thinking, what's the need? Let's meet the need. And we were doing a pretty good job of that. But as it grew every Christmas, there were more and more and more. And we're seeing this. And then people were becoming interested in the community, and they were like, well, what can we do? We would like to give more to this. Well, I didn't have a place for it to go because we were not a nonprofit. And I didn't want to be a nonprofit because of my assumptions of what that would be like. I loved these women. I was getting to know them. This was not something that I'm just throwing out this or that. I mean, I was getting very much involved, but they were my heart. And I didn't ever want them to feel embarrassed or like they were a charity. I wanted their dignity to be respected. So these are all my assumptions, right? Like if we do a nonprofit, they're going to feel demeaned. They're going to feel embarrassed. And I have worked so hard to gain their trust. And I'm going to protect them because I don't want them to ever feel like that. That would mean I had failed completely if they've lost their dignity. And so I was like, not doing it. Well, thank you, but I don't have a place for that to go. Would you be willing to put it in a gift card and we can pay power? You know, that's kind of and then over time, we were just getting a lot of encouragement through people wanting to get involved. And I realized, you know what, I'm being selfish.
Yeah, you just got to have a structure.
I'm being selfish. Yeah. I'm afraid, yes, I can control if people treat others with dignity by saying this is who we are. I will not allow anyone to be involved unless they treat these women with the utmost respect. And I was pretty passionate about that. And
so, Lori, how do you know Tanya?
We met, I don't know, you know, when you've lived in Rome 20 years, somebody asked you that, and I just feel like always saying, like, well, we've always known each other. Yeah. But
because it's Rome.
I got involved in a Bible study that she was leading for a while, and so that's really when we became closer. Yes.
So you said you mentioned you led a Bible study. Are you active in ministry?
I am in women's ministry. I've always, well, not always, I guess, but since we've moved here, I began to get involved in women's ministry, and I love Scripture, and I love teaching the Bible, and he just, you know, completely changed my life, and so I just love to share that and share him and talk about hard things. Like I really like to talk about hard things, like culturally what's going on. I like for us to learn. I like for us to be thoughtful, have good communication and dialogue, and so I taught for many years, and I still I'm doing a little bit of a pause right now because some other things going on, but I still love it. And I have a Facebook page where I share devotions and, you know, short videos, and I text the ladies. And so I still have my women's ministry. So my heart has always been for women, encouraging women, loving women, but it was never, you know, a nonprofit until this recently happened. So I have, I guess, two different kinds of ministries that I love, and it's my women just in general, all ages, stages of life, and then single moms.
So what is your background? Where are you from?
So I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, Madison, Mississippi, and went to Ole Miss.
This is where I do my...
Toddy.
This is where we digress into college football.
Yes, we talked about this a little bit. So, yeah, love the Rebels.
You love the football and the fashion and the festivals.
The food. The food at the Grove. We spoke about the Grove and how awesome tailgating is there.
Right.
Yes,
I've been there. I've visited there, and I love the fact y'all are so hospitable, and you take your loss, and you are still happy about it.
hey, we're looking good. We're looking good this season.
You do. Lane Kiffin's a really good offensive coach. And
Lane train, go.
Yeah,
yes, we are on the Lane train.
But I have loved my experiences in Oxford, Mississippi. It is awesome when the Georgia Bulldogs have gone there infrequently over the years, but it's a great place.
And I have a son at Georgia right now, and so we are in Athens.
And you had a daughter at
Alabama.
So you guys are a mixed family, and you still get along.
As I said, somebody gonna win. Somebody gonna win.
Right. Alabama and Ole Miss play each other every year. So
and we have beat Alabama.
Yeah,
and I'm proud to say that.
Yeah. Okay.
We got Georgia coming up here pretty soon, and I will be there.
Well, welcome to Athens, or as we call it, God's country, because that G on the helmet's not just for Georgia.
Oh, I see. Okay, that is good to know. That is good to know.
First time I've heard that.
Claim. And the highway from Atlanta to Athens, Highway 316. Well, John 316. You know.
Well, and Laney says
is that a coincidence?
Listen,
I think not.
Laney says the Crimson Tide bleeds red. So we've got all kinds of little
Well, you can't get to Athens without going through Bethlehem. I got all kinds.
Gosh,
you
really do. Yeah, you're loaded. That is.
But let's get back to your background.
Okay, let's get back. Okay,
you grew up in Mississippi. Went to Ole Miss.
Yes, I went to Ole Miss
on purpose.
And then lived in New Orleans. My husband did his medical residency at Ochsner Hospital there, and so that was fun. We loved that. And then we lived in actually Florence, Alabama for a short time and made our way here. And so we have been here for, since 2006, and we have loved it. And so we're here to stay.
So, and that's, you must have met in 2006 or thereaughts, though you feel like you've known each other forever.
Yeah, it might have been when we first got here that we actually first met. And then I think, wasn't that right, Lori?
Maybe did you homeschooled?
I did for a while.
So I think that's when we met.
Maybe so.
Because I was homeschooling for,
yes.
on and off for years. But I think that's how we met initially.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And then when I was rolled into that Bible study, I was a single mom.
Yeah.
And so you really, encouraged me in lots of ways during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting because you do have a whole bunch of kids.
I do. I do. I have 5. And so I was a single mom for 8 years. Mm-hmm. So I also have a heart for these women that struggle. I, had lots of assets and I was not quite in a situation like that, but the worry and the strife is the same. Mm-hmm. And when you're the only parent, that's, there on the day to day, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, so as it has grown, mm-hmm. and you have formed a nonprofit, where are the dads?
Yeah. So, good question. And that is such a passionate thing for me, but, the moms there's a lot of different reasons that, that have caused them to parent alone. We have had widows where dad has passed away tragically.
Sure, okay.
Wonderful father.
Sure.
Tragically passed away in a tough situation. We've had some where spousal abandonment, divorce.
But even divorce, there's kids. The dad should still.
He should. Mm-hmm. But that's not always the case. There are a lot of reasons that these things happen. Sometimes there's addiction. Sometimes there's abuse, adultery. But it breaks my heart because, there is something to be said for, when you get involved in lives and you're talking to them and coming from a place of faith. I mean, I do read the scriptures and I know God, there's such a responsibility that we carry as men and women, as mothers and fathers. Okay, so I can read the scriptures and I do believe that, but when you get involved and you see what happens when dad exits, you see the reality of why God said what he did. Because the thing about it is when dad goes, mom takes on an incredible amount of responsibility, but it's also understanding that dad was always protector, whether he knew it or not. So when he leaves, sometimes those children and that mother can become bait for very bad people. And you see what happens when a protector leaves and people are vulnerable and somebody comes in and what happens in that. And it breaks your heart because you know you've read that, but now you're seeing the reality of that. And kind of live in a world that's like, hey, you do you, boo. It's all good. You meet your personal needs. You whatever you feel. And that is not true. We were made for more than that in life. We were made for more than just do you, boo. We were made for more than us fulfilling whatever we might think we need. We were made for family. We were made for community. We were made to pour into more than just ourselves. And we'll never find satisfaction if we live that way. And that's what you're seeing right now, is you're seeing people aren't happy. And it's because we do live in a society that encourages you do you, whatever you want. You make you happy. And the reality is it doesn't work and it doesn't make you happy because we were created to do more than that.
Wow, that 60 seconds right there.
She's good. She's good.
We need to. I'm glad we're on the internet because that needs to go everywhere.
It does. We need our men. We need our women. Everybody has wonderful roles. Everybody has wonderful gifts to share, but they're both needed. And that's the reality. And we have a lot of little boys who are very upset that dad is not there.
Oh, yeah.
Both girls, too. But, boys want to identify with a male because that's their male. And so when daddy's not around, it makes them very angry. They have a right to be angry. I would be angry. And so we want to minister to that. We want to help that. What do they do with their anger? Do we just say, don't be angry? I'm not going to say that. That kid has a right to be angry. So what do we do with that? So how can we help with that? And that's where I get into going to where I'm not just a handout for anybody. I am like, I want to hand up. I want to give them something to help them really tangible. What can I do to help in this situation?
So you're not just treating the symptoms.
Exactly.
You're treating the disease.
Well, this is the hurt, the pain. If you listen long enough, every single one of us has hurt. Okay, everybody. If you listen long enough, you're going to hear more, and you're going to begin to understand. And all these assumptions that you have, some may be right, but a large number are going to be wrong. And so, let's figure out what we need to do to help in that.
Okay, so kind of get in the weeds here with me with the organization. So you take donations to help with funding, but okay, so are you providing housing? Are you helping paying bills?
Thank you for asking for that.
What exactly
Absolutely.
are we doing?
100%. So some people think that we are someone who helps homeless people, and I'm like, okay, no. There are a lot of organizations doing that, and we need to do that. But that is not what we're doing. Okay. That is the first thing I try to help people understand. Our mothers are working. They have jobs. If they don't have a job, they're in school. We do have some moms that have unique situations. We have one mom whose baby, incredibly sick, born with half a heart. Child cannot go to daycare. The mother has no support. She loves her child, but she cannot let him go into a daycare. Well, he could die. He just had a huge open heart surgery. Thankfully, he is doing better. But those kind of circumstances, okay, well, we understand that. We understand you cannot work right now. And so we've got her working on other things so that when he gets better, she's going to be ready to go because she is ready to go. She wants to work so bad. And so we do have some special circumstances such as that.
But for the most part,
everyone is working. Working, or these are mothers who you do have working beside you at wherever your place of employment is, or maybe where you go to church. I've had a number of times I've gone and spoken at churches, and a mom will come up to me because they don't want anybody to know. Even at church, they're embarrassed, and they do not look like they need help because what they want to do is convey that they are doing just fine. And so they will come up and whisper to me, you just spoke about me. That's me. And I will just whisper back, you just call me, text me, email me. We will help you. But we're trying to protect that dignity because they are embarrassed.
Sure.
And so they are not going to look like they need help. They're not. And so that's the first time I try to tell people, like, they are not going, most of my mothers would not ask for help. This is still an issue. I will have to check on them to make sure they're doing okay because they will not tell me. They will not tell me. And so they just feel embarrassed. It's the good kind of pride we all hope, we have, but it can actually work against you in times where you really do need help, you know? But I respect them for that. I just don't want something bad to happen because they need some help right now. And so,
So the help manifests itself out.
Thank you. The help. Okay. So yes, we do help if there is a bill that is outstanding or they cannot pay it. That's, again, like cars, things like that. It's a problem. They can have something come up that they just don't have the extra funds for. Sponsoring sometimes their children at school activities. It's very important for kids to have an activity that they are proud of, that they are able to immerse themselves into, grow a skill, a talent. This is very important to the emotional health of the child. So if we want to help sponsor a child with athletics or whatnot at school, getting the equipment or whatever that means, we'll do that. Counseling, this is an expensive one, so we don't have a ton reserved for that, but we do try to help get them counseling or the children counseling if that's needed, which they're obviously that would be helpful with most of our moms.
Regarding some of the emotional things going on.
Emotional things. It's just hard. It's stress. A lot of and some of the ones divorced, I have one that just fell into depression because that was never what she wanted. Like it's,
all right. When you get married, you don't think that.
Yeah. And so they're great moms, but they kind of get in a dark place of just, man, what is this going to look like now for me and the kids? And so it's, we want to help them through that, so sometimes it's counseling. It can be clothing for the kids starting back at school or going through needing coats. We have right now we're starting our Christmas drive, and we basically take care of Christmas for these mothers. And it is such a joy. It is so much fun. And what I tell the moms is, I want you to tell me what they want. Do not Do not just tell me anything. Do not just tell me, a pair of shoes. What do they see the other kids have that they want? I want to know specifically, because if they don't tell me, I'm going to put it down there anyway, because it's dignity. It's dignity for these children, and God cares about dignity. And so we try to make Christmas, we try to go above and beyond for Christmas. And sometimes this is all they get all year. Sometimes they don't get birthday gifts. They don't get, other things. And so what we do at Christmas is going to, I'm going to blow it out of the water if I can. And so we have Sign Up Genius where we list all the gifts individually. And like I said, we try to put links on there. We try to get super specific to make it easy for some donors. We all know Christmas is expensive. We all know there's a lot for us to do. So they don't have to get that specific thing, but we want to make it as easy as possible for them. And so if they just want to hit a link, get it and send it to us, or, bring it to collection day or whatever. We're going to make it as easy as possible for them. And if they want to get something else, that's fine too. But we're going to try to be specific.
Well, Christmas is expensive, especially with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, how many is it? Does it range from one kid to multiple kids?
It does. Well, yeah, I would say they're not just multiple. Like, I would say the average is 2 or 3.
Yeah.
We have several that just have 1.
Yeah.
We have a couple of families that are a little bit larger than that, but I would say the average is 2 or 3. And so, yeah, we just try to really provide for that need and do our best to make that holiday really special.
How did you come up with the name?
Hope for Hearts.
Yeah. And it's the number 4, right?
Yes. That's the number. Yeah. So the number didn't necessarily have a huge meaning. It was more of the hope part.
Yeah.
Because we just believe that God is hope, and Christ came at Christmas, obviously, and this was all birthed at Christmas, right? And so hope is a huge part. Hope heals. Hope strengthens. Hope gives encouragement. Hope is light, And so it is when I see someone struggling, the first thing I do is want to provide some form of hope. Don't just say, I'm going to pray for you. Yes, we're going to pray. Absolutely, we're going to pray. But we're going to do more than that too. Because that's evidence in Scripture. That's what Jesus did. He loved them, and he talked to them, spoke to them, poured into them, told them the truth. But guess what he did too? He met needs. So that's what we try to do. We love them. We want to help them. We're going to pray for them. But we are going to help if they want us to be involved.
Maybe the answered prayer is you helping meet the needs.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Right. And through that, and they don't have to believe, they don't have to be Christian. We're not forcing anything on them. Absolutely not. I tell them he loves them because, he's done so much in my life, and we share that, but we definitely let them know that is not what you do not have to be of faith for us to help you. Let me just say that.
Yeah. That was another question on my list.
Oh,
here.
yeah. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, you do not have to be of faith. That is personal choice, and we honor that. And we respect that, and but yes, we do share that's what's gotten us involved. But yeah.
So, Laura, are you involved, or are you just friends with Tanya from way back, or?
I have been involved. I have somebody I used to work with that joined. Is a single mom, very hardworking, and has a special needs child, and so I got involved a couple years ago and sponsored her. And then through Hardy Realty, I know that several of the people that work there have sponsored some of the moms at Christmas time. But it is a really easy way to give. They run a tight ship. It's very organized. That you'll have the drop offs and so it's just an easy way to feel that you're doing something for somebody. And these women have been vetted. They, like Tanya says, very carefully. And I was going to ask you that. How are you referred? And then how many moms do y'all have right now at Christmas time?
That's a good question. So the vetting is important for me to kind of go through and explain. We do have referrals. They do not have to be referrals, but we do kind of like to know someone that we can contact. Sometimes they will contact us on social media or through our website, or so much is word of mouth. We get information from churches and businesses, just a lot of word of mouth. So the vetting process is fill out the application, and then we make a phone call. We talk to them. We ask a lot of other questions to know kind of what's going on, what the situation is, to see if they're a good fit. And then we kind of depending on what that is, get involved in a small amount, kind of small way as we get to know them. And then the second portion of the vetting is having one of our team members call and try to go through their finances, what's going on, how much specifically do you have? Like, can we help you to figure out how we can do that better? Let's look at that. We also encourage them, for the ones that are in an age bracket, because we do have some grandmoms, obviously, but in an age bracket that will might be able to go back to school. We encourage that. We will we'll really help them in whatever way we need to get them to return to school, to get a better degree, to have a better job. And it's amazing. That's been something new we've been doing in the past couple of years, and it's been amazing to watch because they are so ready. All they needed was just somebody to support, encourage, maybe point them in the right direction, tell them they can do it, and man, they are on it. And so we do kind of talk about, like, let's make sure there are jobs in that particular degree. Let's make sure they're going to pay enough to sustain, your kids, two or three kids, and your payments and all your bills, all that. Let's really look at what you're thinking about majoring in, to make sure that when you finish, this is really going to help you. We're not just wasting your time.
Right.
And so, yes, we've just been excited to see so many of them just jump on that. And so that's been a new part of our ministry, is just say, hey, listen, we want you financially free or financially in a better place. You don't have to feel this, and so if we can do that through going back to school, man, we're going to help you there. And then, of course, there are some that can't do that, and that's okay. We're going to still be there for them and support them and encourage them.
Do you have a lack of a better word, storefront, or is it wherever you are on your cell phone?
That's it. This phone is everything. I have about 16 women on my team, and we all do so much with our phones. Like, it's crazy, because there's not really, like, when we meet with them, they don't have a lot of time. I mean, they're busy. They are working and they are with kids. And so we do so much through our phone. But we do try to meet with them if they have the time to meet. But there's really not a need for us to have a place.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go wherever
that's an added expense for a nonprofit to have to worry about.
It is, and we don't get paid. None of us get paid. We're all volunteers. Yeah. And so our thing is, we want to meet wherever they can meet, when they can meet. And that is that may be at, a restaurant at 7:00, or it may be on a Saturday morning somewhere, but we're going to go wherever they want to go. So we don't have a particular place. But our phone, we do a lot of their phones.
Well, that's the way people do business now, especially
right. Real estate. That's what I say. If my phone hits the lake, I'm in trouble because it's my life. It's my business.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, but you do have a central little location, but 90% of your time you're probably out and about, aren't you? Yeah.
Right. Yes. See as many people as you can in a day. So
show houses, sell houses. But Hardy has always had a good heart, and in this Hardy Helps campaign, you mentioned so many of your realtors there involved in things like this. So the fact that culture exists, you just talk about that culture inside the building at Hardy.
Yes, I think, service before self, for sure. Putting others, before us. And I think that that's the culture there from the top down. And so it's brought us a lot of wonderful things. You put things in the right order, and then generally you have your own success too. So.
Well, so you've gotten support from Hardy. Do you want to mention any others that support you, or is that sort of private, or?
Well, I'd like to also, I usually like to have permission for that, but we do have a lot of local churches and businesses that are extremely, extremely supportive.
Yeah.
But I try to get permission as far as sharing that information. Yeah. Because some people don't want people to know, and then others are like, that's fine,
Yeah, of course.
But we are very thankful, and we do offer to go to businesses, go to churches, share what we do. It's just important to try to get the word out. And it's also helping businesses and churches, because we know that single moms exist in there. So we're not just going to say, hey, would you help support, moms and kids in the community? But we're also here to say, hey, do you have any moms or kids that need help? Well, it's just been amazing to us. Like, I've had doctors call me and say, hey, listen, one of my employees is really struggling, and I know she needs y'all. And they have been very helpful in giving to that, and saying we will do whatever we have to, but I know she needs like some females in her life to give her encouragement and support, and financially they would give. And then so they weren't just saying, you go do this. I mean, they were giving to us as well to help her. But so I've had people call and tell me, their stories. And we had somebody to build a home for one of our moms.
Wow.
A brand new home. And we were so excited. So we've got a mom and her 2 kids living there now. And she is one, just quick story of her, because she's so amazing. I have several that are so amazing. But she started out working as a waitress. She would walk to work every day, walk home until she could afford a car. And then she was able to get a car, very loyal to her workplace, and worked there for quite a time. And we got involved in her life and just encouraged her, go back to school. You are so smart. And she did. She went back and got her degree. She now has her own business. And she is, she is actually going to be speaking at a leadership event. She's just amazing. And really all it took was, encouragement and some help.
Have you ever heard of an organization that Warwick Dunn does called Homes for the Holidays? All right, Warwick Dunn is a former pro football player, and I know him back from my TV sportscasting days. And he was he and his siblings being raised by a single mom, and she was a police officer, and she was killed in the line of duty. But, he becomes a pro football player, and he starts this organization. And I think there's some synergy here that maybe what he takes working single moms and works with some big corporations in Atlanta and gets them a house furnished. So maybe there's a candidate in your pool that could also apply there.
Absolutely. It's good to know.
Because the criteria is, they do the background checks and the financial checks. The moms are working. Mm-hmm. They just need a little help. If I can get in a house with my kids, we can have a neighborhood and a school, and my job will pay the bills, but I can't get to that place I need to get to because of a deadbeat dad or something.
Well, and that is so interesting that you said that. This mom, before we had the house built for her, she was living in a situation in our neighborhood that she just did not trust. And she was afraid for her kids to be outside their apartment. And so she would not let them go outside. And she's got a preteen boy and little girl. And she just was like, they are not allowed to go outside. And so they were there for, I can't remember how many years it was before, maybe 5 or 6. Before we were able to have this amazing donor build this home for them. And so, but you're also pulling them out of, situations that are not good to grow up in, and you're giving them a neighborhood that's going to be safer. And so it does a lot.
Yeah, they're searching for the stability that they can't quite afford yet, but yet everywhere else they're technically stable.
100%.
So anyway,
100%.
I just thought maybe you should look into that organization.
I would love to do that
because there's maybe. Yes. I don't know how many he does every year. But it was several per year, and maybe there's a candidate in our area that would. I don't know.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yes, for sure.
And where did he go to college, Roger?
He went to Florida State.
Thank you very much. We're having a good year. I mean, come on,
you're having a great year.
Throw me a bone.
You're having a great year. And George,
I lived.
Georgia and
more
Florida
than
State.
A decade
we might play in a playoff. I'm not going to talk smack to you. You're very good.
Good.
You
leading Garnet and Gold over here.
You won at Clemson. You guys are really, really, really good. I don't want to say you're back yet because you got to keep winning. But
right. We don't want to say we're back either. We don't want to jinx anything. But I am going to see Chief Osceola on his horse this Saturday at 3:30 in Tallahassee, and it's going to be thrilling.
One of the great pregame traditions of any college anywhere.
Arguably the best mascot in college football.
Hello, UGA is the number one mascot.
Dog.
Sports Illustrated declared it. I have the cover.
Please.
America's number one mascot, UGA. I have it framed.
Okay.
Everybody else is going for number 2. Sorry, we digress.
Love that.
I told you, if college football comes up or Elvis Presley, I'm off on my own little tangents.
I love it.
Nice.
I love to.
And Elvis Presley is from Mississippi.
Well, this I know.
Tupelo.
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, my husband is a huge fan. Huge fan.
I kind of grew up that way myself, so it's just kind of crazy. Okay, so kind of any final thoughts? What can people do to apply, or what can people do to support you? Is there a website?
Absolutely. So, yes, there is a website. It is www.hopeforheartsgeorgia.org, and it was the number 4, and then Georgia is GA. So
Hope, the number 4, Hearts GA.
That's correct. .org.
.org.
And that,
.org, yeah.
And that is our website. And we will have a link that goes to the Christmas drive to where they can look at the gifts. And we also are on social media. So Facebook, Instagram.
Do you take like for everything from $5 to?
We do. We do. And never, again, I know that some people are like, oh, well, $5 is not, and I'm like, you don't understand. Yeah. That is, we would love to have that, it's so important. And I know this sounds silly, maybe to some people, I don't know. It probably doesn't to a lot of those that have gone through the preteen, teen years, but a little gift card for a teenager to go and get, a fast food or a Starbucks, that's a big deal to them. And it just means a lot. And so those $5 cards to get a coffee sometimes are they really do impact, more than people know. So it's, again, every little bit counts.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So your website is Hearts for
www.hopeforheartsga.org. That's correct. And then if the application is on there as well, email us if you had questions or want to get in touch with us, and that is relief@hopeforhearts.org. And so, we are here. We would love to get people involved or share a little bit more. Again, we can go to businesses or churches and share what we do. It's really great. And especially with Christmas coming up, we do try to have everything collected early because we do give it to the moms by December 1. And the reason we do that is because we want them to lay eyes on the gifts and realize they did come in. So you can rest and you can now enjoy until Christmas. That's it. Because you just don't want them waiting until December 21st to know if their kids are going to have Christmas, right? So we do it very early, but it also kind of gets it out of the way, honestly, because y'all know Christmas, it gets so busy. There's some Christmas craze that goes on at our house. And so it's good to just kind of get that check that off the list.
Yeah, I wish there was something we could do. I understand the unusual circumstances or the father passed away or things like that. But these guys that are out there that are working and are just not stepping up and have just walked away. That's anyway.
Yes. Well, and you're right. And I think it's the message that is again spread in our culture and our society that says it's okay to do what you want to do. And
that is not okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay. And Lori, you could probably attest to this too. A lot of times they picture, what upsets me too is the television and movies and all this will picture single moms being this, hey, we can do it all. We can be highly successful. We can have kids. We can do everything. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, that's not what we see here. That may be in celebrity world. That may be where you are and making whatever you're making so you can have people go and race. I don't know, but I'm just saying the reality of that is not true. But these young kids, they look at that on TV and they're like, oh yeah, we can just do it all. And it just sends a wrong message. It's the wrong message being sent.
It is for sure not what's best for the kids.
No, it's not.
We should stick with God's design.
Yes, it works. Mm-hmm. It really works.
All right. Final thoughts from Hardy, or how people can reach you if they want to buy or sell a house.
Oh, yes. Well, you can always get me on my cell phone. It's easy to find a realtor. So, and I split my time. We've got a great office in Cartersville now on Main Street there, downtown, really beautiful space. So we've got this office on Hardy on Broad and Hardy on Main now in Cartersville. And we've got our place on Martha Berry. So we've got some good spots.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This was very interesting.
Thank you.
And hope we help to get the word out, especially at this time of year.
Appreciate that so much.
So people can step up. So again, that's hopeforheartsga.org.
That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. You've been listening to the Hardy Realty Show here on Rome Business Radio. We broadcast from the Hardy Realty Studios in downtown Rome, Georgia. I'm Roger Manus. Thank you so much for listening.